Good morning, Bradley here. It's been a while since I made a video. Hey. Anyhow, I have 3 albums to show today, and I think I got these albums. It's probably been a couple months. I've been trying to find a way to work them in, and well, whatever. So I just gave up on that and decided to show them in this one video. So these 3 albums are what you would consider modern jazz. They're by younger artists. It's kind of like that new wave of jazz that's going on in the UK and also America. So I myself, I love hard bop, but I also like to hear newer stuff, something a little outside my usual area, because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on nowadays. And these albums, they combine jazz and maybe beat music, electronica, hip-hop, whatever. So anyhow, the first album is by Makaya McCraven. It's called Universal Beings, E and F sides. This came out in 2020. There's no writing on the album except on the spine there. Now this came out in 2020. In 2018, Makaya McCraven released an album called Universal Beings. That was the name of it. Now that was a double album. Now these songs were from the same sessions, so they're called the E and F sides, so that third album. Probably for whatever reason, I guess they didn't make it on the first album, but I really like it. I might like it better than the first album. So you've got 14 songs on here. A lot of really good young artists. I'll name a few of them. You might have heard of them. Nubia Garcia, Shabaka Hutchings, Carlos Nino, Jeff Parker, Junius Paul, Joel Ross, Kamal Williams, Brandy Younger. So at first when I listened to this album, you know, I kind of put it away for a while, and in the last week I started listening to it more and more. Good stuff on here. McCraven, he's an American drummer and excellent drummer. He's considered one of the top drummers around. He's won awards, etc. Now his playing, he will use the bass pedal quite a bit, which that really gets that beat and makes the drums more prominent. You know, this stuff is the new modern jazz. Not for everybody, I get that, but if you want to try something a little different and new, I'll probably go for it. And I do like the, came with this pretty thick vinyl sleeve, and I will show you what's inside, which the inner cover is pretty cool. It's on International Anthem recording. It does come with a photo, and on the other side it just tells a little bit about each song. So all these songs were recorded, or a lot of them, different places, different venues or studios. So I like this album. It's good. Okay, the second album, also in that new wave, British artist, Binker and Moses. This is Alive in the East. This is pretty much a live album. This is on Gearbox Records. It does have a little insert I will show you. There's the group right there. Now usually Binker and Moses, they made at least a few albums just with those two, saxophone player and the drummer. So Binker Golding plays tenor sax and Moses Boyd is the drummer. Now on this album you also have Evan Parker on saxophones. You got a trumpet and even a harp, and also Yusuf Days on drums, along with the other drummer, Moses Boyd. Another in that new wave of jazz. Not everybody's cup of tea, but I like it. It's fresh and new. The only problem I had with this album, there's one song on here. I'm not sure which, I think the first side. And it's like, you have two saxophones playing at the same time. They're playing completely different. But you do have that beat going on. So that prevents it from becoming all-out free jazz. But the rest of the songs are not like that song. It's pretty good. I think the first song, I'm not sure if it's called The Birth of Light. It's probably I don't know, 3 or 4 minute, basically a drum solo by Moses Boyd. And that is just awesome. Sounds fantastic. So the third album I have, we're going back to Makaya McCraven. And this was released last year, 2021, on Blue Note Records. It's called Deciphering the Message. It's got a good cast of characters here. Joel Ross, Jeff Parker, Matt Gold, Genius Paul, Greg Ward. Got like 8 or 9 players on here. Has 13 songs on here. Comes with an insert. And it describes the songs on the rear side. This is, which the label on this is just a little strange. It's Blue Note, but the white is kind of almost a yellowish or faded. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. It's hard to tell, but it's like they used the wrong color of label. I don't know. So, Deciphering the Message. It's on Blue Note Records. So McCraven had access to all past Blue Note recordings. So what he does on here, a lot of sampling. So he samples a lot of old Blue Note songs, like Tranquility by Bobby Hutcherson's off Components, just all kinds of, and if you're into Blue Note, you would probably recognize a lot of these titles. One by Hank Mobley, one by Kenny Dorham, one by Art Blakey. But it's a very heavy use of samples. And what he did, I suppose he kind of compiled these samples for the outline of the song. And this was during the pandemic, so, and then he basically set these sound files around to these other musicians, and they added their parts in their own studio or a nearby studio. So I've listened to this many times trying to figure it out, because something always sounded a little funky. And basically it comes down to those samples. I'm just not a big sample type of person, I guess. You know, when you use those samples, they'll be kind of herky-jerky when they're added to each other, which that's what they want, because it helps the beat or whatever. You know, like I said, I've listened to this many times, and I just always come to the conclusion that it's not one of my favorite albums because of that overuse of samples. So, but the musicians are great on here. So, and it's all personal preference. Deciphering the Message by Makaya McCraven from 2021 on Blue Note. So that's it for today's albums. So hope everybody has a great rest of the week, and I hope to see you the next time. We'll see ya.